Forget Andrew Scheer, forget Justin Trudeau. Jagmeet Singh is the only man fit to lead this country right now. Look, over the last couple days, we've seen the headlines about Justin Trudeau, and I'm not here for any of the liberal attempts to minimize what he did or to try to shift it to a strategic anti-Andrew Scheer argument. The reality is what the Prime Minister did is awful and should disqualify him from being Prime Minister. 100%, without a doubt in my mind. But of course, Andrew Scheer is no better, and his attempt to capitalize on the situation came off as insincere at best. And so we're left with a fundamental clarity that Jagmeet Singh on this issue and on almost every other issue is the leader Canada needs and deserves right now. Look, in light of this issue, only Jagmeet Singh has been very clear. He didn't make it about himself. He didn't make it about polls and horse races. He didn't make it about trying to quote-unquote say there are more important things. These are things that Scheer and Trudeau and Elizabeth May all did to at least some degree. Try to bury the issue or try to make it about them personally or their success personally. Singh was very clear. This is not about me. This is about people who don't have voice. This is about people who are hurt. And in that moment, he revealed the true character of leadership. And if there's one thing for me that defines leadership, that epitomizes leadership above all, it's selflessness and it's empathy and it's decentering your own personal perspective in lieu of what, other people are feeling, especially those who need you the most in those moments. And in that moment, that's what Jagmeet Singh said. Again, he noted he didn't want to speak, but he felt he had to because people were depending on him to. And so he did it. He did something he didn't feel comfortable doing because as a leader, you have to do that sometimes. You have to do what is uncomfortable because it's what's needed. And Jagmeet Singh demonstrated that leadership. But of course, it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that because as I've noted, Justin Trudeau did not just disappoint people because of what he wore in at least three separate incidences. That's not the only reason. You can connect that to his relationships with Indigenous people. You can connect that to the thank you for your donation moment. You can connect that to the fact that his government has resisted equal funding for Indigenous schools this entire 4 years. You can connect it to the fact that he won't stand up to Donald Trump and, end the Safe Third Country Agreement. These things are connected. Justin Trudeau is getting a pass from liberals saying, these actions don't define who Justin Trudeau is today, but they do. They really, really do. And so Jagmeet Singh is the only one with policies that are designed to fight for racial justice in this country, to work with Indigenous people on reconciliation, to have a decriminalization policy that will end the unjust targeting of young men of color especially, to end systems of police discrimination against young men of color, of communities of color, to build systems that reject Donald Trump's, treatment of migrants, and to show to the world and to Canadians that we do not see what Donald Trump does as safe, to build economic and social programs that will help all Canadians, but especially the most marginalized in economic and in social terms. That is a person who is demonstrating through his actions and his words and his worldview a position that he is in it for you. He's not just in it for you if you went to the same private school as he did. He's not just in it for you if you have the same skin color he did. He's not just in it for you if you excuse racial caricature. He's in it for you, and he's in it for all regular people. It's as simple as that. And so I don't want to see these arguments right now, which are coming predominantly from liberals, which is that we have no choice but to support Justin Trudeau. We have to stop Jagmeet Singh from getting any momentum because if he does, he will elect Andrew Scheer. That sort of argument underpins the very discrimination that Justin Trudeau did. It ties in with that CTV News article from a couple days ago, which basically suggested Is Canada ready for a prime minister in a turban? Trying to plant the seed that people aren't ready for this and that maybe voters shouldn't consider the man who does wear a turban and the man who does practice a faith that has never before been represented at the prime ministerial level in this country. And yet we see what Justin Trudeau did. And yet we see further to that the defense of those actions by Liberals and the pressure they are putting on anyone who is critical of the prime minister. And I've seen this aimed at everybody because they might dare convince people to vote for Jagmeet Singh. It's baffling to me that the people don't see the irony in this. They're saying Justin Trudeau did not do something racist. Yet in this action, they're effectively telling people, they're telling people of color, they're telling allies, they're telling NDPers, they're telling Jagmeet Singh himself in some cases, that look, we have to support the guy who did the racist thing because there's another guy who might do racist things. And, first leader of color in our country's history at the federal level, you're being divisive. And you should come out and clearly say that Justin Trudeau didn't do something that wrong. And you need to realize what's at stake. And all Liberal supporters are doing in that moment is underpinning white supremacy. It's as simple as that. And Jagmeet Singh is the only one offering an alternative to that. He's the only one that will challenge the status quo that allows Trudeau and Scheer to hold awful views about marginalized people and get away with them. And he's the only one challenging the economic elite and their stranglehold over our social programs and our way of life and over the opportunity that is taken away from so many working class Canadians. He is the only option right now for a progressive Canada. Justin Trudeau is a fraud, and Justin Trudeau, when push comes to shove, will take the regressive position. And Andrew Scheer, of course, is no better and maybe even worse. But that's no excuse to use Scheer as a way of defending Trudeau, to go to people like Jagmeet Singh and basically silence him because he dares to suggest that the Prime Minister did something that hurt Canadians. And that people, and rightly so, may not be able to look at the Prime Minister the same way ever again. None of that is wrong. None of that is unreasonable. And the elephant in the room, folks, is that Liberals never take responsibility for their electoral failures. They never, ever do. Like, ever. Here's the thing. If Justin Trudeau loses this election and we get a Scheer majority government, there will be 3 or 4 key reasons for that. 1, Justin Trudeau did something truly abhorrent and will face consequences for it. 2, he had major ethics violations and will face consequences for it. 3, he promised to fix the first past the post system and then didn't, making possible a Scheer majority government with 35 to 40% of the vote. And 4, he broke promises to key constituencies, and if those constituencies either don't come out to vote or vote for a different party, you can't blame them. Whether Indigenous people choose to vote elsewhere or choose not to vote as much, or young people or workers or the marginalized, you can't blame them when they've been betrayed by Justin Trudeau and his Liberal government. And yet they're already priming the pump. They're already like, look, we got to back Trudeau. We got to back him. He's the only one that can stop Scheer. And it gets even worse. I've seen Liberals on Twitter suggest that if you even talk about the issues surrounding Justin Trudeau, you are doing work for the Conservatives. They are effectively trying to silence all criticism of the Prime Minister, no matter how legitimate, because their guy might lose. But again, I say to you that when, not if, but when a Conservative government forms majority power again, because it will happen sometime, maybe not this time, but it will happen again, it will be due to the Liberal Party's lies and the fact that Liberal supporters do not hold their leaders accountable. They let them get away with actions that are racist and deceptive. Simple as that. It's on you guys. I'm not having this attacking Jagmeet Singh or people of color or NDPers for not just bowing down to the son of a prime minister, pledging our fealty to the Lord, who by his divine right deserves to rule, even though he dehumanizes Canadians in 2001 and he dehumanizes them in the 1990s, and through his actions as prime minister, continues to dehumanize people today. I'm done with it. Jagmeet Singh is the only reasonable choice for anybody who deems themselves a progressive in this country, and there's no debating that.